Hello and welcome to Piano Shack with me, Woody. The Espen Kraft challenge is done and today I will share with you the results. Just to recap then, Espen composed and performed a track on his amazing collection of vintage synthesizers and drum machines, and the challenge was for me to attempt to recreate the sound using just software plugins. Well, I'll play you my version in just a minute, but first, as a refresher, I'll play Espen's original track for you one more time. Thanks Espen, now let's play my version of the same track. You just heard it. I just couldn't resist it, could I? Thanks Espen for allowing me to overdub my audio over your video. You're a good sport. So how many of you did I catch out? I want you to raise your hand if you were fooled. Let me know in the comments. Of course, I'll play you the proper software versus hardware audio tracks in just a minute, and we'll also have a word from Espen himself. But first, I want to explain how we, and I say we very intentionally, made this track. By we then, I mean myself and one of my viewers, XAVIER RADIX. I hope I got the name right, XAVIER. Now the thing is, when I made this track, I said you guys are welcome to participate as well. And just one day after I published my video announcing the challenge, I got a mail from XAVIER there who said that he'd done his own recreation and he shared the link to it on YouTube. And I thought he'd done a fabulous job. He'd used exactly the same approach that I was planning to use, except even better, because he just used Reaper and free software synthesizers and effects, and he did such a remarkable job. He nailed the arrangement note for note. So after hearing this, I actually thought, what's the point in me repeating what he's just done? It would make a lot more sense for us to collaborate and finish off the track together, and that's what we did. Okay, XAVIER sent me over his Reaper file, all of the plugins. He'd spent about 10 hours getting it to the state that it was in, which was pretty good really. but I spent another 5 hours tweaking the synthesizers, changing some of the presets on the synths, adjusting the EQs, the compression, and doing a master as close as I could to Espen's master. So I just pushed it the extra few percent, but we can say that XAVIER did most, if not nearly all of the work here. He did the hard work. And that's great. That frees up a bit of time for me so I can do my own interpretation. I'm quite keen to do a remix or my own version of Espen's track. So keep an eye out on the channel because that's coming up soon. So that's enough of me talking. Let's put the original track now from Espen, no kidding or mucking around, up against the track that XAVIER and I put together. I've put both tracks into Ableton and I'm going to cross-fade between them as the track plays. You'll be able to see on the meters which track is playing and you'll be able to hear a difference, no doubt about that. Okay, let's roll the shootout. So there you go. As you can hear, there was a difference, albeit quite slight, I think. But in fact, I think it's an impossible challenge to get both of these tracks sounding exactly identical. Espen's using, of course, vintage hardware, but also outboard effects. I've got no idea what he's doing on his mixing desk, and his mastering process I don't know either. So by doing it just by ear, it was really very difficult to get it exactly the same. But perhaps we got it close enough to prove the point, and the point is what? Not really anything apart from this being an interesting and fun challenge. But I think it's impressive how close we got to the sound of Espen's rig using just Reaper, which costs I think about 70 bucks, and everything else was free. You will of course need a MIDI controller and a sound card, but otherwise you're good to go. I'd go as far to say as the software synths themselves were remarkably close to the hardware, but I think the differences I can hear, mainly here, are due to the different EQ curves on each instrument and on the overall master of the track. And we did time box this activity. As I said, it was about 15 hours total to get to where we are now. And of course, if we'd have put more hours into this project, we could have tweaked it to get it that much closer, but I didn't really see the point in that. I have other fish to fry. Maybe you think that you can do better. and maybe you can, but I'd love to hear your results. Put your money where your mouth is and send me your tracks, and I'll even release them on my channel. Once again then, a huge thanks to XAVIER for saving me so much time. I want you guys to go over to his channel if you can and say that I sent you over there. It's XAVIER RADIX. I'll leave a link in the description below. He's got some amazing tracks over there on his channel. He plays guitar, he plays synths, he's into the synthwave stuff. He's a very young guy and a super talented producer, so give him a subscription if you like what he does. Also, a big thank you to Espen. I've listened to your track now about 100 times, and the more I hear it, the more I appreciate what a really great track and good arrangement it is. Good job, man. In a second, we'll have a word from Espen with his observations and thoughts on this challenge, but I just wanted to thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing and sharing. That's all for me. Cheerio.
Hi Woody, it's Espen Kraft here again, and I want to thank you once more for having me on your fantastic channel. It's been a lot of fun for me participating in this challenge, and I've really enjoyed making the track and see you sweat over it and trying to find the parts and really nail it. So here are the votes from the Norwegian jury. Woody, 12 points. The synths, the bass, the drums, the overall reverb setting and the EQ is really close. It's not 100%, but it could never be, because I recorded my track live using only hardware, using hardware reverb, and to match that 100% in soft, it's nearly impossible. It is impossible, but that was really not the goal, to be able to mimic it at 100%. That can't be done. It couldn't be done the other way around either. I couldn't emulate your software sound in hardware 100%, but you've come very close. I bet all those rooting for the software option is really happy now listening to this result of yours, and I'm really impressed myself. We want to thank XAVIER, of course, one of our viewers who's contributed to making your part of the challenge so spot on. So a big thanks to him. And all those rooting for the hardware option, what can I say? I use hardware because it inspired me to make my 80s music. There's no right or wrong here. Use whatever tool necessary to make your artistic vision come true. I've chosen hardware because that's what I grew up with. That's what I'm used to working on. And if you're into software, please use software. There's no right or wrong. I'll say it again. Use what you think is necessary to make your music come true. That is the ultimate goal, to engage the listener into your story. And synths, whether softs or hardware, it really doesn't matter. It's the music, the result that matters. So Woody, once again, thank you so much for having me on your channel, and I look forward to our next challenge. So until next time, auf Wiedersehen.